episode 4 of my series, Mangasplain. I can't believe I'm actually on episode 4. This is so awesome. I'm actually being consistent. It may not seem like a big deal to you, but I have ADHD, so it's a big deal to me that I've been consistent. So in this episode, we're going to be covering chapters 9 through 12. Chapter 9 is when Lucy and Natsu return to Kabi to give the book to him. Naturally, Kabi is a little confused. He doesn't understand why they're handing him the book because he wanted it destroyed. And this is when Lucy reveals who Kabi actually is. He's actually the son of Kimu Zaliam. And that this book is incredibly special because it's the last book that his dad ever wrote. And Natsu was highly offended that Kabi just wanted to burn and destroy the book and not read it because it was his dad's. Kabi then explains himself as to why he wants the book destroyed and why he has no interest in reading it, and shares, his experience with his dad when his dad went and disappeared on him and his mom for years, and then suddenly came back, looking horrible and just saying that the last book he ever wrote was like garbage, and that he's lost his right to ever be a writer again, and went, cut off his arm and eventually unalived himself. See, fairy tale does get dark, and it's gonna get darker, trust me. So just as Kabi is about to burn the book like he wanted, the book suddenly, a spell is activated. Then Lucy encourages him to, look and see what's going on. And that's when she explained the book was actually under a spell. The story that is told in it is not the real story. It was actually a book he had written for Kabi, and had put a spell on it so that nobody else could read it. The book's title, Daybreak, was actually an anagram. That's right? Yeah, an anagram for Dear Kabi. Of course, that's when he finds out that, his dad was imprisoned for 3 years and was forced to write a shitty story that he didn't want to write. So, basically to get back at everything, he just wrote a story for his son and the story covered things like the adventures his dad had been on back when he was a guild member. And after all this has come to light, Natsu then, says, well, we can't take the reward money now. And of course, Lucy is obviously like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? But it made sense why they couldn't take the money. Natsu said it would ruin Fairy Tale's name. If something good happened out of this, we didn't really complete the job because we didn't burn the book. I totally empathize with Lucy not being able to take the reward. Bitch has got bills to pay. She's got rent. Next day, Lucy's looking for a job on the request board, and she's noticing that there's a big variety of different types of jobs. Mira tells her to let her know when she's found a job because the master is currently out of town on business for a meeting with all the masters. This is when Mira explains to Lucy basically how the magical government works. The Magic Council oversees everything magical and everything having to do with guilds. If you're not, official and registered, basically with the nation, you're considered a dark guild. And the council has a ban on guilds, having any fighting with each other. This also meant that if they broke any laws relating to magic, the council can make proper judgment. How it's structured basically is the guilds basically operate kind of like, police stations would operate, if that makes any sense. So while Lucy's looking for a job, Natsu encourages her to look faster. But after their last job, she considers them not partners anymore. But Natsu just shrugged it off and said, "No, we're partners." He picked and lets her know that he picked her because she's nice. And he's serious. I know it sounds so silly for him and that he's just being sarcastic, but he's actually serious. He picked Lucy to be his partner because she was nice. He likes nice people. Natsu basically isn't fazed at all by tsunderes. He can see right through their bullshit. Randomly, Loki tries to hit on Lucy, and when he does, he notices that she has gate keys and realizes she's a celestial spirit wizard, and is absolutely terrified, runs for his life. Then Natsu and Gray get into it, fighting like they do this a lot, that they're always bickering. They're like brothers, honestly. While that's all going on, Loki comes running back in looking absolutely mortified. That's when he announces that Urza Scarlet is back. So she shows up, walking through the guild doors, and she's carrying a giant horn. A giant monster horn. She has to talk to Master Makarov, but he's out of town, having that meeting. She then looks around the guild hall and just starts basically giving everybody shit to stop doing their shit. Like, Natsu and Gray's reaction to Urza was hysterical. These two talk a hell of a lot of shit, but then Urza shows up and suddenly they're like scared little mice. You'll learn why. Urza then discusses that she wants Natsu and Gray to go with her on this job that goes to Onibas. She doesn't really give any details. She said she'll give details later, but that she thinks that she needs the two of them. Mira just looks shaken up, saying this is going to be like the strongest team in Fairy Tail. And when Urza leaves, of course, Natsu and Gray are just not happy about this idea at all. Neither of them want to work with each other. Later at the train station, Natsu and Gray are fighting, as usual, again. And Lucy tells them to basically just shut up. And then they ask her, why is she here? And unfortunately, she said, Mira sent her. She's like, just go with them, just to mediate between those two. She just regrets everything. When Urza shows up, she does give a little bit more detail about what this job entails. Not before showing she takes way too much luggage. She mentions that the job is pretty risky, and that's definitely when Lucy regrets everything. Before they get on the train, Natsu tells Urza that he wants to challenge her. He wants to fight her when they get back from the job. She agrees, and I like Gray's response when she asked him, "Did you want to challenge me too?" And he's like, "Fuck no." On the train, Urza reveals even more details that it has to do with the guild called Eisenwald. They're a dark guild. They originally were an official guild, but they kept taking assassination requests, which are banned, but they just kept doing it. So they were ordered, the master was arrested, and they were ordered to disband, but most of the time guilds like these, they don't disband. They just keep operating illegally, and that's what labels them as a dark guild, but that also gets them easily arrested. But they just, not easily, I guess, because they just stay hidden, right? When Urza had been stopping for a drink in Onibus, she overheard these dark guild members talking about a tool called the Lullaby, which is which they're after, and that Kageyama is supposed to be getting it. And he tells them, no, don't worry. He's like, next time you'll see me, I'll have that in hand. They arrived at the train station, get off the train, and are still discussing among each other when they realize that they forgot Natsu. They left him on the train. This is when Natsu meets Kageyama. Natsu is just obviously sicker than ever because the train's moving again. And this guy is like totally teasing him because he knows he's an official guild, and like kicks him in the face and all this crap. And I'm just like, God, you're so lucky that he is incapacitated at the moment. It's when he insults Fairy Tail that Natsu starts to get more serious and does his best to ignore his nausea. And then the train comes to the abrupt stop because earlier Urza had, wanted that train to come to a stop even though she was told not to do that. She hit the emergency brake. And now that the train wasn't moving, Natsu was relieved. He saw, and then the backpack that Kageyama had been holding, some flute kind of flew out of it, and he was like, what is that? And Kageyama's like, fuck, he saw it. Before he could do anything, though, Natsu just squared up, clocked him right in the face. And then the train started to move again, which made him sick again, so he, busted out the window. Doing that, he realized that Urza, Lucy, and Gray and Happy were all in a vehicle chasing the train, and as Natsu's flying through the air, he hits right for Gray, and they just smack into each other. The best part, though, is when Natsu is telling Urza what he experienced while he was on the train, and talking about this guy who was kicking his butt, and blah, 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 and the flute and everything like that. Urza forgot that she had done something on the train earlier, before they had gotten off. She had knocked him unconscious on the train ride, so he didn't have to feel sick anymore. He did not hear any of the conversation that they had on the train. But Urza forgot this and just smacked him across the face for not trying to go after Kageyama. And Lucy comes to a realization because she does a lot of reading, so she knows a lot of stuff, a lot of history. And she knew that flute that it was the lullaby flute, the death flute, basically. And when anybody plays that flute, anybody around it who hears it will basically fall asleep and die. So with this new information, Urza is racing with everybody in tow in the vehicle to, get back to Anibas to stop whatever they're trying to do. And that comes to the end of chapter 12 and the end of the 4th episode. If you noticed, every episode's getting a little bit longer because I'm getting a little bit more comfortable, making sure I lay out all the details and lore of Fairy Tail as I explain the manga. Don't forget to ask any questions in the comment section. I will answer as many as I can. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, please leave that too, because I could use all the help I can get. I am, a micro, freaking influencer, so I'm new at this, okay? Okay, like and subscribe. Bye.